I'll share with you some information about the SDGs, which comes from the website sdgzone.com. So the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, are 17 ambitious objectives for a greener, healthier, more peaceful and equal planet. Here are 10 things that I want to share with you. So the journey begins. The idea for the SDGs was born out of the 2020 Rio +20 summit in Brazil. At the summit, government leaders began creating a set of universal goals to tackle poverty, ill health, inequality and environmental degradation. The idea was to use the SDGs as a new agreement to replace the 8 Millennium Development Goals, which expired in 2015. This was the largest consultation in history. So it took 3 years to design the goals and targets. Governments, businesses, communities, universities, non-governmental organisations and youth from all around the world participated in the negotiations, with more than 7 million people voting in 84 national surveys. The birth of the goals on the 25th of September 2015, after many years of discussion and consultation, all 193 countries finally agreed and signed the SDGs and made a commitment to achieve them by 2030. You can find the agreement on the UN or United Nations website. Other names the SDGs are sometimes referred to are as Global Goals or Agenda 2030. So there's a new way of thinking. The SDGs are changing how we think about money, growth and profit. They see economic well-being, social inclusion and environmental sustainability as closely interconnected. A universal agenda. The SDGs are universal and were created to leave no one behind. The goals apply to both rich and poor countries, cities and villages, young and old, male, female, everyone in between. Interconnected. The goals are targets, and targets are strongly connected to each other. For example, poverty goal 1 can lead to hunger and malnutrition, which is goal 2, which may lead to health problems, goal 3, that may prevent children from completing their education, goal 4, or adults from getting a job, goal 8. As you can see, the links between the goals mean that they cannot see them as separate from one another, but that are completely intertwined. Complex targets and indicators. As the famous saying goes, you treasure what you measure. Hence, the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, are accompanied by 169 specific targets and 232 measurable indicators. These targets and indicators will help countries plan with policies, measure their progress, find gaps, report the results, and share with the international community. And it's not just governments. Governments are not the only ones working on the SDGs. A huge number of non-governmental organisations, or NGOs, are using the SDGs for planning, decision-making and growing. A number of private companies, city councils, universities are all doing the same. And individuals too. We're using them in our course right here. The cost. Based on current estimates, the world would need around $2.5 trillion US per year to achieve the SDGs by 2030. That's around 3% of the world economy. Finally, and most importantly, between now and 2030, there is an enormous amount of work to do. Achieving the SDGs will need action from governments, civil society, communities, companies, and youth. And that is why we are adopting them as part of our course, or as an aspect of learning about them. Our Otago Polytechnic has signed an agreement with a global organisation trying to implement the SDGs in educational institutions. And it is a pretty respected and universal framework that lots of companies and people are using. So we're going to use them as another perspective in this course and see how it links into your creative project.